Platinum trophies, one of the best things a video game company has ever invented. To get these trophies, it takes skill, patience,
Oh shit, not good.
and other things. Today I'm going to be ranking my platinums based on how hard or easy they were to achieve. Let's get started.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
That's right, the first platinum on the list is Resident Evil 4 Remake. Resident Evil 4 is known for many things. The cheesy one-liners, the jump scares, and the hot Asian woman. But in all seriousness, this game really nails the creepy atmosphere that makes a Resident Evil game. Now on to one of the hardest things about this platinum trophy is the shooting range. I absolutely dreaded coming back and doing these when I was going for my platinum trophy. The amount of BS I had to put up with trying to get all the skeletons to get an S rank just made me, just thinking about it now, just. But the hardest part about this platinum trophy was for sure the professional difficulty. Oh my god. The amount of times I almost slammed my controller against my forehead, desk, or the ground, I've lost count. It was about 50. The biggest thing for me was the no autosaves. And I understand, like, come on, I know it's the hardest difficulty, but like, Chapter 10, if you've played the game, you know what I'm talking about. The bugs, and then you go straight into fighting those two giant ogre Wolverine-looking wannabes. But I digress. Resident Evil 4 is a masterpiece, and the remake does this game a great justice. It's amazing. I definitely recommend you play this game, but as ranking goes on how difficult the game is, it's getting put in the hard tier. Next up was my most anticipated game of 2024, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. This game sold over 3 million copies in just the 24 hours of its launch. Honestly, the only other Dragon Ball game I'd played before this was Kakarot or in Xenoverse 2. So, I mean, I wasn't really sure what I was getting myself into, but this game, it delivered. It was really good. I enjoyed it for the first, few weeks. And then the sweats came in. I couldn't even play a single match without getting absolutely folded by a Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta or Beerus. Don't even get me started on Grade 8 Vegeta in the story mode. I was literally just about to delete the game, bro. Like, I was stuck on him for like 2 hours. I was so fed up with him. And then I went and practiced, came back, and I still got whooped, bruh. But honestly, besides that, the platinum really wasn't too bad. It just required a lot of grinding to try and get all the Dragon Balls, playing online matches, and beating the story mode. Which, the story mode was pretty difficult, I'm not gonna lie, like trying to get all the secret endings and stuff. But besides that, it wasn't that bad. So that's why I'm gonna put it in the tedious tier. The next game on the list is Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. It's the old one. I got it with the collection when I got all the other games. I'm not gonna lie, I'm just gonna put this one and the first one together because, I mean, they're both kind of the same. This game, honestly, they were really, really easy. I didn't struggle too much with the platinum on either of these, except this one part in the second game. Like, it wasn't even hard. I just kept getting caught by the guy and it was annoying. And like, once he sees you, you have to start all over again. And this whole thing takes like 10 minutes. So I messed up like 6-7 times, having to repeat the entire process because I would rush out too soon, which was pretty annoying. But honestly, both games were really easy. Metal Gear Solid 2 gets put in easy, only because I had to struggle with that jungle part. The first game is the easiest. Like, it wasn't even a struggle at all. You don't even have to be sneaky, you can just run past everybody. The next game that I was able to platinum on this list was Deadpool. And I was so happy I was able to get my hands on the game. I have it on Xbox 360, but I didn't have it on PS3, and I wanted to platinum it. So, I ordered it off Amazon. It was like $25, and it actually wasn't a scam. I was pretty shocked. I enjoyed the game a lot. It has a really cool mechanics, the teleporting, and Nolan North just kills it as Deadpool. It's hilarious.
Time to make my own luck. $1 billion, here we come. What? A cow? Nice try, Wheel. There are no cows on Genosha.
The hardest thing about this platinum was definitely the ultra-violence difficulty. You'd get shot twice or hit once by one of those big fat guys and you're dead. And you have to go all the way back to your last checkpoint. And these checkpoints in this game are not fair, bro. I'm telling you. It was so annoying. I would almost clear in this entire stage One guy would be hiding up, shooting at me. I'd die, and I have to do the entire process over again. It got to a point where I was literally just trying to run through the level, not even trying to kill anybody. The game was hard, don't get me wrong, but not impossible. I was going to put this game in the hard tier, I'm not going to lie. But when I really sat down and thought about it, I was like, you know what? It really wasn't too bad. So that's why it's going to go in the tedious tier. The next game on the list is one of the best games I've ever played, and I mean that genuinely. It's Black Myth Wukong. Oh, my bad. Wrong game. This is the game I'm talking about. There's not much I don't like about this game. The characters are cool. Like, hold on. Just listen to this, bro. Like, you can't listen to that and tell me that's not heat. I don't even know what he's saying and I'm bumping my head. Anyway, yeah, the bosses in this game are hard, don't get me wrong. But it's the grind that is the most draining part about this game. I was looking for these curios, however the hell you pronounce them. Some of these curios had such a low drop rate that it would literally take me like 1 to 2 hours just to find one of them. Now, before I get into the ranking of these, you guys gotta watch this. This blew my mind the first time watching this.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Now, before I get into the ranking of how hard this game was, just sit back and look at this beautiful scenery, bro. Okay, I'm done glazing now. This is going in the hard tier. You might be saying, bro, the game's not even that hard. Well, I'm bad at video games, so shut up.
Oh, yes. Pale blood. Well, you've come to the right place. Yharnam is the home of blood ministration. You need only unravel its mystery. But where's an outsider like yourself to begin? Easy, with a bit of Yharnam blood of your own. But first, you'll need a contract.
If you can't tell what game that is from the clip I just played, you are missing out, bro. Next game is Bloodborne. Bloodborne was the first Souls game I ever played out of the series. And to say my first couple times playing it, I absolutely hated it. And believe it or not, a boss wasn't even the reason I hated the game. It was this stupid fat mother. But after about 30 minutes of just sitting down, trying to beat this guy, I figured it out. Basically what I was trying to say is I beat him. But it wasn't as cool as that fight. I just thought, you know, I'd spice it up to make the video more interesting. At the time, Bloodborne was the hardest platinum I had ever tried to go for. It was a lot of trial and error, but I was able to do it eventually. The thing in this game that was harder for me than the actual game itself was none other than the Chalice dungeons. Specifically, the hardest one that I remember was the Defiled Chalice. In this dungeon, you're at half health, which makes everything so much harder than it needs to be. This is the fight that I remember gave me the most trouble. I legit spent a day and a half on this boss. I had to get off and then get back on because I felt like I was deteriorating sitting there from losing over and over and over again. Okay, I'm done talking about how I got my ass kicked. Now let's talk about the environment. Bloodborne's environment is the best depiction of a gothic horror, eldritch, mystery, whatever you want to call it, ever.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
This is one of the very few games that I genuinely wanted to dig into the lore and learn about it. And the more I did, the more I realized how messed up this game is, bro. Okay, I'm done talking about this. This game is just beautiful. You gotta go play it. I'm putting this in the hardest difficulties here because it was pretty damn hard. The next game on the list is one of the most black Air Force energy games ever. I'm of course talking about Raid Shadow Legends. Boy, if you don't... Obviously, I'm joking. I'm talking about Sekiro. Sekiro is the third FromSoft game that I played right after Elden Ring, and I gotta say, I was not expecting this game to be as hard as it was going into it. This game is not Elden Ring. You can't just pick a super overpowered build like the Lion's Claw Strength build. You have to either get good at the game or you're cooked. Thankfully, after getting my butt kicked in the other two Souls games, I was kind of expecting that to happen here, which it did. I saw this kanji more times than I've seen my own family in the past 3 years combined. Which, thinking about it now, that's actually kind of sad. Besides that, I want to talk about something I hate even more than seeing those Indian street food dudes sticking their little fingers and feet in everything. That's the demon of hatred. With the amount of hate I have in my heart for dealing with that thing, rivals even the demon itself. Never have I faced a boss that made me genuinely feel like I was losing years off my life. The demon of hatred is the most miserable, infuriating boss I have ever had to fight. And I fought and beat Prime Consort Radon pre-nerf. Okay, I think I'm being overdramatic. I'm about to play you something that might save you hours and hours of time. In this clip, you're going to want to run and climb all the way to the roof of this tower right here. Once you get to the roof, you're going to run and jump. Go all the way around, and then climb onto this roof. Go all the way over to the other side. You'll see the demon of hatred down at the bottom. He's going to be swinging over there trying to hit you. Just give it a second, and bam, there he goes. Call it cheesing, call it cheating, I don't care what you call it. I'd rather cheat than break my monitor, controller, or rip hair out of my head. I know the way I'm talking right now makes me sound like I hate this game, but Sekiro is genuinely one of the most fun, awesome games I've ever played. Like, just watch this fight right here. When you learn how to do this, bro, you're gonna feel like a prime LeBron James. If you couldn't already tell, this game is going in the hardest tier, right next to Bloodborne.
Oh, death. Become my blade once more.
Just watching that sends shivers down my spine. I'm just gonna come out and say it. I hated this game. I hated on it when it came out and beat God of War in the Game of the Year awards. But when I sat down and played it, I realized this game definitely deserved it. When I first played this game, I was struggling a little bit, but once I figured out where I was supposed to go and what to do, I kind of got the hang of it. It really wasn't that hard. That's what I thought, at least, until I faced my first actual challenge in this game.
General Radon is cursed ever to wander. Eaten from the inside by Melania's scarlet rot, his wits are long gone. Now he gathers the corpses of former friends and foes alike, gorging on them like a dog.
I think I fought Radon for like 3 hours straight, and I just could not beat him. It's because of this stupid meteor attack. After I finally beat Radon, I felt like I had become blessed by Mikola himself. Once I finally felt like I conquered the world, I met him. As soon as you get over one obstacle, you run right into another. But that's the thing with these Souls games. That's always how it is. I've come to terms with it. Now, it was time for me to lock in. I got around to the end of the game and faced what I thought would be the end of me. The Elden Beast. This giant slug dragon creature really pissed me off. Every time I tried to hit it, it would run away. And then spam freaking light arrows and shit at me. Even after all that, the game's going in the hard tier. It's definitely the easiest of the Souls games I've played. I've only played 3, so we'll see if any of the other Souls games are harder or not. just wanted to take a second and show off the absolute beauty that is Ghost of Tsushima. This was one of the games that I knew from the very start that I wanted to platinum. The story of this game is very, very intriguing. One of my favorite things about this game is how throughout the story you start to build up this legacy and basically become a legend. Another thing I love about this game is you can switch between different stances to fight different types of enemies. I played this game on the hardest difficulty, Lethal. I'm not gonna lie, at first it was extremely difficult learning all the stances while also being one shot, but I'm telling you, the payoff when you learn how to fight, you will literally feel like the Ghost of Tsushima. When you are dog walking all the fucking Mongolian! The only thing I don't like about this game is what they did to one of the goats.
Nothing lasts forever, but be honest, babe.
I'm not even gonna lie, I cried here. I really did. Okay, I'm moving on now. I don't want to be sad anymore. This game is getting put in the hard tier. While the combat was hard at some points, it's honestly kind of fun. I like the challenge. The collectibles weren't too bad, so that's why it's getting put in this tier.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Dead Space. One of those games I was always interested in playing as a kid, but was never allowed to because of the M rating. So I did what any kid would do. I snuck on the game when everyone was asleep and played it. Mind you, I was like 9 years old, so this was the worst mistake I'd ever made in my entire life. Well, maybe like the fourth. So when the remake got announced, I was pretty excited to revisit a game that had scarred me in the past. And it is still equally as terrifying now as it was then. The hardest thing in this game was the impossible mode, and to be honest, it really wasn't that impossible. It's basically just the hard mode, but if you die, you have to start the game over. And even when I played hard, I only died once or twice. Granted, I died like 4 or 5 times during this playthrough, but I did it, and that's all that really matters. Now, before I rank this game, I want to show a part of this game that messed me up the most, and I'm sure it did for most people as well. Yeah, that part of the game right there cost me about 80% of my impossible runs. This game is getting put into the tedious tier. While this game was pretty difficult at some points, I didn't feel like I struggled with it as much as the other games that are in the higher tiers than this. Insomniac Spider-Man 2 was a game I was so hyped for that I couldn't sleep some nights waiting for it to release. And when I played it, I glazed the game so much. I mean, just look what happens in the first 10 minutes, bro.
You okay? I'm working on it.
Yeah, baby!
So yeah, the hype for this game was real. This game basically takes everything from the first game and improves upon it. But I still think the first game is better, story-wise. Now don't get me wrong, this game has a pretty good story. It just feels a little lackluster at times. But I will say, the depth they went into with each character in this game, like Peter, Miles, Martin Lee, Harry, was incredible. I loved Martin Lee's redemption arc. But I don't know, me personally, I would have Swiss cheesed his ass. Now to talk about my favorite part of this game. Getting to play as Venom is what I wanted to do since I saw the end credit scene in the first Spider-Man game. And they delivered. This was some of the most fun I'd had in a long time. I'm so glad they went in this direction. They're letting us play as Venom and just wreak havoc on everything, bro.
But
Platinum in the game really was not hard at all, even on the hardest difficulty. Honestly, the thing that was harder than the actual difficulty itself was trying to get through Miles' boring-ass side missions. So, because of that, this game is getting put in the easy tier.
We have been betrayed. The peace we once knew shattered like glass. First came the goblins, then underpants gnomes, vampire kids, hippies, crab people. We need a savior who can undo that which has been did.
Yeah. South Park The Stick of Truth was the next game on the list. And as a big South Park fan, this game was phenomenal. There really isn't much not to like about this game. It's as crude and vulgar as the show.
And then one day a couple fish had a retard baby, and the retard baby was different, so it got to live. So retard fish goes on to make more retard babies, and then one day a retard baby fish crawled out of the ocean with its mutant fish hands, and it had butt sex with a squirrel or something.
And what's so funny to me is that they made a whole episode in the series promoting this game. As Platinums go, this was pretty easy. The main thing was collecting various items, doing side quests, and beating the main story. Out of all the Platinums I've gotten, this was definitely the funniest one. I could probably sit here for 30 minutes talking about everything I like about this game, but I really don't want to spoil too much. You should definitely go play this for yourself. And like I said, as Platinums go, this was easy, so it's going in the easy tier.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
The next game is one of my personal favorite first-person shooter story modes, Titanfall 2. This game has one of the coolest missions out of any game I've ever played. You can travel back and forth between the past and the present, and I just think that's such a cool-ass idea for a mission. The first time I played it, my mind was absolutely blown. Now, the platinum on this game was pretty difficult, I'm not gonna lie. The hardest difficulty, Master. Enemies have near perfect aim, and you're always 2 hits away from dying. There's 3 things in this difficulty that were super challenging for me, and 2 of them were the first 2 levels. They really just felt like a level in Call of Duty or something, which isn't bad, but when you've been grinding multiplayer for 2 hours and then go straight into the story mode, you're kind of not used to this boots on the ground kind of missions. Like, this is what regular movement looks like in Titanfall 2. Yeah, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you get what I'm trying to say. The movement is not basic, like you're not just running forward shooting, you're jumping everywhere, you're grappling places. There's different abilities in the multiplayer as well. Enough about this. Let's talk about the third thing that really stumped me in my master playthrough. It was this POS. Yeah, I was stuck on him for a good hour or so. Now, let's talk about the gauntlet. For this achievement, you need to get top 3 on the scoreboard, which might not sound that hard, but look at the lengths these people will go to try and get a high ranking. I just feel that's absolutely insane. Like, if you blink, you're gonna miss like a whole section. But it wasn't that bad. So for that, this is going in the tedious tier. The next game is a sequel to one of my favorite games of all time.
Are you coming with me or not?
I told you I wasn't going to leave this place. It's fucking evil out there.
That may be, but there's evil within, too.
Yeah, it's Evil Within 2. This game is really, really good. Back when I first played this game, I did not like it at all. I was so confused and I didn't understand what was going on. That also could have been because I skipped all the cutscenes and I was 12 years old. When I revisited the game for the Platinum, I realized this is a pretty solid game. And I'm not gonna lie, the jump scares got me a good bit. That's just one of the main ones I remember. I want to talk about the difficulty in this game. There's casual, survival, nightmare, and then classic mode. Classic mode is a difficulty where you can only save 7 times throughout the entire game. There's no auto saves, and every enemy is significantly stronger than on the nightmare difficulty. This mode absolutely kicked my ass. It took me a few days to do this, and after I was done, I was so relieved. I really didn't think I was going to be able to do this because of how hard it was. I was honestly pretty proud of myself. This game also had one of the coolest get back scenes I've ever seen in a game. Evil Within 2 is a pretty solid game. I like the story. Not as much as the first one. The first one, I don't know, there's just something about that one. But as a sequel, it's really, really good. I'm putting this game in the hardest tier because this game was really, really hard. Next game on the list was one of the first games to get a Platinum trophy, and that's Uncharted: Drake's Fortune. I thought this game was alright. It wasn't anything crazy, but the story was enjoyable, the gameplay was pretty nice. There was 2 reasons why I wanted to Platinum this trophy. One was because it was one of the first games to get a Platinum trophy, and 2, I wanted to Platinum the entire Uncharted series, which I still have not done yet. I played Uncharted 4 when I got my first PS4 and really enjoyed that game. Honestly, I don't really have much else to say about this game. It wasn't really hard, it was just a lot of grinding for certain achievements. So that's why I'm going to put it in the tedious tier. The next game is a game I do actually care about. This was the second installment in the Insomniac Spider-Man universe. So this is technically the second Spider-Man game, but it's honestly just more of a filler game. I love Miles Morales, so getting to play as him after seeing the little teaser they left in the first Spider-Man game was awesome. I like playing as Miles because 1, you can go invisible, and 2, you got electricity, bro. The only problem I really had with this game was the villain. I did not care for her at all. I did not care what happened to her at the end of the game. That's not entirely true. I'm glad she got her little redemption arc at the end. The best thing about this game for me was the interactions between Miles and his uncle. Yeah, I'm definitely not talking about that. I'm talking about this fight. I love the relationship Miles and Aaron have. Aaron wants to protect Miles, and Miles wants to go out and be a hero and protect everyone else without worrying about his own safety. As soon as Miles gets into some dangerous territory, Aaron tries to step up and protect him in the only way he knows how. And it's just absolute perfection. This game is extremely underrated. As far as the difficulty goes on getting the Platinum, it's the same as the second game. It's going in the easy tier. Now we're about to talk about a game that is in my top 3 most favorite games of all time, The Evil Within. Call it a Resident Evil clone all you want, I don't give a shit. It's literally made by the same dude. The Evil Within is a survival horror masterpiece. I played this game when I was a little jit, and I remember it scaring the absolute crap out of me. This part in particular. With this game being listed as a 9 out of 10 difficulty, I was expecting it to be really hard, but I didn't care because I loved this game very much. The main villain in this game, Ruben Victoriano, also known as Ruvik, he has an obsession with the human mind, which led to him developing the STEM system, a machine that could link consciousness together. And if you couldn't tell, that went horribly wrong. Our main guy, Sebastian Castellanos, his partner Joseph, who's also voiced by Sasuke Uchiha, and then fine shit herself, Kidman. But I don't want to talk about the story of the game anymore. I want you to go experience it for yourself, because that's how good it is. The Akumu mode is the hardest difficulty in the game, and it definitely lives up to the name. In this difficulty, you're one-shot to everything, and I mean everything. You could get farted on by a fly, and you will cease to exist. With many failed attempts and deaths, I was able to beat Akumu mode. I think I died probably around 600 times if I'm being honest. As rankings goes, this is for sure going into the hardest tier difficulty. This is just a little side note, but before you play the second game, go play The Assignment and The Consequence. They're both DLCs where you play as Kidman, and it dives more into the lore of The Evil Within. When you go to play the second game, you'll have a better understanding of what's going on, and believe me, this is coming from experience. Next game is a sequel, one of the best horror games to have ever been released in my opinion, and that game is BioShock 2. I do not think the story of this game is better than the first game, but one thing I do love about BioShock 2 more than the first game is the addition of dual wielding. BioShock 2 takes place 8 years after the events of the first game, and you play as a character known as Subject Delta. Subject Delta was the first successful Big Daddy subject bonded to a little sister, and once you play the game, you'll understand what that means. A lot of the trophies you will unlock will come naturally just from playing the game. There's a trophy in this game called Big Brass Balls, which requires you to beat the game on the hard difficulty without using the Vita Chamber, which basically is just a checkpoint that'll resurrect you when you die. Then there's a certain section in this game where you have to defend a little sister without her taking any damage at all. Those were the two trophies that I struggle with the most, especially beating the game without using the Vita Chamber. This game is amazing, and I absolutely recommend you play this and the first game. As Platinums go, this wasn't hard, but it also wasn't easy, so it's gonna go in the tedious tier. The next game is a series that has one of the most badass protagonists of all time. The game I'm talking about is God of War. It's hard to believe that this game was made in 2005. Not only did this game introduce one of the most badass characters in a video game, it also introduced one of the most badass weapons in a video game, the Blades of Chaos. The most annoying part of this game was having to complete the Challenge of the Gods. What's the Challenge of the Gods, you ask? It's a 10-phase gauntlet that gets harder with each level, each one having a different challenge to complete. The best part of it all is that it has to be done in one sitting, and I learned that the hard way. Besides the gauntlet, this game really wasn't too bad. It was honestly really enjoyable, even on the hardest difficulty. With the gauntlet only taking me about 2 hours, and the rest of the story being pretty chill, I would say I put this in the tedious tier. The next game is a game I platinumed out of love for the show, not the game, and that's Naruto Ninja Storm 4. I started playing this game right around the time I started watching anime, and Naruto was one of the first animes that I genuinely fell in love with. I literally brainwashed myself just to go back and watch the show again for the first time. Now back to the game. This game really is not all that good. I really enjoyed it when I first started playing it, but as time went on, you start to realize there's a lot of problems in this game. A big one is how broken some characters are, and then just how useless some other characters are. The story looks really good, but you might as well just watch the show with how many cutscenes you have to watch. I mean, like, you barely get to play. And the adventure mode is hot, stinky, doo-doo caca. The last main problem I have is the online mode. It's full of connection issues and sweaty players. Like, bro, look at this. I honestly wish I never even would have bothered playing online. I just want to go back and talk about the story mode real quick. There's one mission that you have to get an S rank on, and it is absolutely dreadful. I'm talking about this one. You have to fly around in Sasuke's Susanoo while fighting Madara in his Susanoo, and stay above a certain amount of health. It might not sound that difficult, but it kind of was. It took me like 15 minutes, which was pretty long compared to how I was getting S ranks on every other mission first and second try. But after all that, the game really wasn't that hard, so I'm just gonna put it in the tedious tier because it required a lot of grinding.
Papa loves mambo, Mama loves mambo.
BioShock is by far my favorite game of all time. It is a masterpiece of storytelling and atmosphere, combining deep themes with intense combat. This game also has one of my favorite twists of all time.
Would you kindly?
Play the game and you'll understand why I just said what I said. The underwater city Raptures is absolutely beautiful, and this game has some of the best environmental storytelling in any game. This game is also pretty scary, I'm not gonna lie.
Hello there.
And even though this game is scary, I only have fond memories of playing this game. I go back and play this game at least once a year. The story is just so good, but the environment, oh my god, I can't even put into words how much I love it.
Oh my god, glaze me. Look, you. Glaze me. Oh.
Same with the second game. There's a trophy where you have to beat the game on the hardest difficulty without using the Vita Chambers. You also have to take pictures and research every enemy in the game, which is pretty grindy, I'm not gonna lie. So this is gonna go in the tedious tier. On some real shit, you need to play this game. This is one of the best games I've ever played, and I mean that so sincerely. I'd bet you money that you would love this game, and when you do, all I'm expecting is a thank you.
Your son has returned. I come seeking the weed of Olympus! Kratos, you will not get a hit from the cabbage of the gods. Do not deny me my doobie!
Next game up is God of War 3. This is the best God of War in the original trilogy in my opinion. It has some of the coolest and most brutal kills. Like, dude, when I saw that kill for the first time, I was like, holy crap. Kratos is a D1 crash out. He's over here murking gods left and right. Like in the first and second God of War game, there's obviously going to be a gauntlet called the Challenge of Olympus. And I did not struggle on this one as much as I did on the first one. Don't get me wrong, this one was still pretty difficult, but the first one just had the most annoying little challenges you had to do. This game, in my opinion, definitely had the best boss fights out of all the God of War games. Side note, why does the first 3 God of War games include a little mini game of Kratos going absolutely Kevin Gates on these girls? Like, I'm not complaining, I just don't understand why. And I'm not going to show you what I'm talking about, just go play the games and you'll see what I mean. This game wasn't very hard, even on the hardest difficulty, but it also wasn't very easy either. So I think I'm going to put it in the tedious tier. The next game is the first Naruto Ninja Storm game, and if I'm being honest, I enjoyed this game more than I did Naruto Ninja Storm 4. I just felt like there was so much more to do and just so much more entertaining things that I could be doing in this game. The story mode in this game was a little bit better than Ninja Storm 4. Not visually, it just felt like I was doing more to the story instead of just sitting down watching cutscenes. This Platinum was really easy, but also really fun. I still think Ninja Storm 3 is the best out of the 4, but this one is still a pretty solid game. The hardest things in this game for me were the damn quick time events. I kept messing up on those. Like, look at this, bro. How am I supposed to hit this? But on like my second or third try, I got it, so it wasn't really that bad. I'm sure you can guess where this game's going. It's going in the easy tier because it was pretty easy.
There are consequences to saying the N-word.
Why? How do you know? How do you know?
Look, I know this scene is from God of War 2018, but I just thought it was funny and I wanted to use it. The next game on the list is God of War Ragnarok. I've been waiting for this game for years, and I literally skipped school the next day just to play this game. Went upstairs, told my mom, like, you know what, my stomach's hurting, I can't go to school today. And out of the 1 in a million chance, she believed me and I got to stay home. And I played this game from like 9 a.m. to like 1 in the morning the next day, bro. These games' visuals are stunning, bro. Oh my god, dude. I was enjoying this game so much until we got to this part. This was absolutely, positively the worst side missions I've ever played in a game before. It was an hour of unskippable cutscenes, following dogs around, talking to yourself. It was just so bad, bro. But that's literally the only thing I disliked about this game. Everything else was actual perfection. As Platinum goes, this was pretty easy. I played the game on normal, so it wasn't bad. So I'm gonna put this in the easy tier, only because I really didn't struggle with it too much. The only time I did was on like certain boss fights, but I usually beat them in like my first or second attempt. Yeah, Doom 2016 is the next game on the list. This is one of my favorite FPS games. PSN gives Doom a 3 out of 10 difficulty, but I feel like that's if you play on easy. Me, on the other hand, I played on Nightmare, which is the one right below Ultra Nightmare. And Ultra Nightmare is the hardest difficulty in the game. There's a trophy for beating the first mission on that difficulty, which took me almost 2 hours to do. It was most definitely because I'm ass at the game, but that's besides the point. I'm gonna be honest, I had a pretty difficult time getting this platinum. I'd almost beat a level and then die and then have to do the entire thing again, and that was a repeating cycle that happened all throughout the game. Like, I know I was playing on hard, bro, but damn! So yeah, the game was hard. I'm pretty sure you can guess where this is going. The next game, on the other hand, was probably the easiest platinum trophy I've ever gotten in my entire life. It's the Batman Telltale series. Literally, to get this platinum, you just play the game. That's literally it. So I'm just going to tell you where it's going right now. It's going in the easiest tier. Before I move on to the next game, I want to talk about the things I liked about this game. I love how the choices you make in this game actually matter and can lead to a different outcome. I know there's some games out there that if you pick this choice or that choice, it'll all eventually lead to the same outcome. I also love how well written the characters are in this game. The big example for me is John Doe, aka the Joker, and it feels like I'm playing a Batman animated movie, which I absolutely love. But now, on to the next game. The first Insomniac Spider-Man game. This game came out a day before my birthday, and on my birthday, I got this, which is probably the best gift I've ever gotten. This game rivals Batman Arkham City for me. This has such a good story, and it's so refreshing compared to this donkey dookie dick that came out. This game has literally one of the saddest scenes in any game I've ever played, and I legit was bawling my eyes out when this happened. watching that back now got me choking up a little bit. But as far as the Platinum Trophy goes, it's the same as the other two games. It was really straightforward, so it's going in the easy tier. Now for the last but certainly not least game on this list is the 2018 God of War. Like many others, this was probably your first God of War, and this was mine too. This got me into the franchise, and I absolutely fell in love with this game. I played it my first time, instantly knew I was going to platinum it. Played the game for basically 3 days and 3 nights straight, got that platinum, and I was like, I need more. So then I went on to platinum all the other God of War games except for 2. There's no particular reason why I haven't gotten around to doing 2 yet, I just haven't. The main thing that I did different on this game compared to Ragnarok was I played this game on hard, which wasn't too bad at first until I ran into these guys. That's how I felt when I had to fight these things. This was my first time playing a God of War, so I didn't know what type of timing Kratos was on. But he showed me in the first 30 minutes, bro. I learned real quick, Kratos was on that timing, bro. Okay, now let's talk about the Platinum Trophy. PSN rates this a 4 out of 10, but I'm gonna bump it up to a 6 out of 10 because I was playing on hard. Like I said before, the main thing that made this difficulty really hard was the Valkyries. Besides them, the rest of this Platinum really wasn't that hard, so I'm gonna put this in the tedious tier. If you made it this far to the end of the video, I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. This is my very first YouTube video and the first time ever editing something by myself, so I really tried my hardest on this. I really hope you enjoy it. Next video is going to be me platinuming Doom Eternal for the upcoming new Doom game coming out later this year, so stay tuned if you want to watch that. I'm going to sound corny saying this, but like and subscribe, bro. Turn the post notification on, man. Never mind, bro. You don't got to do all that.